Now to an amazing deep-sea discovery. The crew of a high-tech research vessel just found the wreckage of the USS Hornet, a World War II aircraft carrier sunk by the Japanese back in 1942.
The deep ocean does not forget. For 80 years, the Pacific held the wreck of the USS Hornet in a cold, dark grip. When an underwater drone finally pierced that darkness, it sent back footage that shocked everyone. This wasn't just a discovery, it was an encounter with a ghost.
Now, when they come down, you hear them going through the decks, plink, 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 and then when they explode,
The legendary aircraft carrier is sitting upright, its weapons ready, its aircraft still on deck. But the drone also recorded why this discovery is so horrifying. The ship is a tomb, and what's left behind is, to put it mildly, the stuff of nightmares. 17,000 feet down. The search was led by the research vessel Petrel, a ship funded by the late Paul Allen. Its mission, to find the most famous ghosts of World War II. In late January 2019, its autonomous underwater vehicle, or AUV, was scanning a patch of the South Pacific seafloor near the Solomon Islands. It was looking for an anomaly, a shape that didn't belong. And then it got one. The AUV pinged back a massive shape sitting in total, crushing blackness. The team then deployed its remotely operated vehicle, or ROV, to get a closer look. This drone was their eyes, connected by a fiber optic tether swimming down, down, down. It takes hours for the drone to reach the bottom. We're not talking about a shallow dive. The wreck of the USS Hornet rests at 17,500 feet. That's more than 3 miles deep. To put that in perspective, the pressure down there is almost 8,000 pounds per square inch. It's a force that can flatten a pickup truck down to the size of a dinner plate. This isn't just water, it's a force of nature that preserves or obliterates. What the drone's high-definition cameras recorded is what's so horrifying. It wasn't a mangled pile of scrap. The ship was sitting upright on the seabed as if it had just landed. It was a ghost, perfectly frozen in time. As the ROV's lights cut through the darkness, the first recognizable shape appeared. It was a 5-inch anti-aircraft gun mount. It wasn't just there, it was intact, its twin barrels still pointing upward, seemingly ready to defend against the attack that had happened 80 years ago. The team on the Petrel was silent. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a memorial. The drone drifted over the ship's hangar bay. What many overlooked in the initial reports was the sheer eeriness of what was inside. The blast doors were torn open from the ship's final moments, and inside, the drone's lights caught the shape of an International Harvester aircraft tug tractor. It was just sitting there, its rubber tires still intact, looking like a farmer had just parked it. In the middle of the ocean, 3 miles down, it was a terrifyingly human object. Then the drone moved to the flight deck. The wooden deck itself was gone, eaten away by time and sea creatures. But the steel structure beneath was clear. And lying on its side, covered in 80 years of silt, was a Grumman F-4F Wildcat fighter plane. Its wings were still in the folded position, just as they would have been to save space in the hangar. It was a machine built for the sky, now trapped in the eternal night of the abyss. What the cameras recorded next was even more chilling. The drone found a hole in the side of the hull, likely from one of the final torpedo hits. It swam inside. The team found racks of shells, workshops, and living quarters, all flooded in an instant. This is the horrifying part. The Hornet is a war grave. 140 sailors went down with their ship. Their final resting place was now lit by the cold LEDs of a robot 80 years later. The ship was so well preserved that the team could even make out the 8 painted on the hull, confirming its identity, CV-8. The ocean hadn't destroyed it, it had kept it. The footage is horrifying because it's not an ancient ruin, it's a modern machine, a place where thousands of men lived and worked, suddenly frozen at the exact moment of its demise. The drone proved the ship was real. But why was this specific ship so important? 16 bombers against an empire. To understand why this discovery is so huge, you have to know what the Hornet was. She wasn't just another carrier, she was a legend. Launched in 1940, the USS Hornet was the newest of the Yorktown-class carriers, the most advanced warships of their time. She was commissioned just 7 weeks before the attack on Pearl Harbor. America was reeling, and it needed a hero. The Hornet would become that hero. In April 1942, just 4 months after Pearl Harbor, America was losing the war. The public needed a victory, or at least some sign of hope. President Roosevelt wanted to hit Japan back to prove they weren't untouchable. The plan they came up with was, to put it mildly, insane. They decided to launch land-based bombers from an aircraft carrier. This had never, ever been done. The Hornet was chosen for this top-secret mission. The plan was to load 16 Army B-25 Mitchell bombers onto its deck, sail as close to Japan as possible, and let them take off. Here's the wow factor. A B-25 bomber normally needs about 2,400 feet of runway to take off. On the Hornet, they had just 467 feet. To make it work, they stripped the bombers of everything non-essential. They took out the radios and most of the guns and filled the space with extra fuel tanks. The crews, led by the legendary Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, knew this was a one-way trip. They didn't have enough fuel to make it back. Their only hope was to bomb Tokyo and other Japanese cities, then try to crash land in friendly parts of China. On April 18, 1942, the Hornet was spotted by a Japanese patrol boat way earlier than planned. They were still almost 700 miles from Japan, 200 miles further out than they wanted to be. Doolittle knew it was now or never. One by one, the 16 bombers roared to life. They lumbered down the tiny pitching deck. Every single one of them made it into the air. It was a miracle of engineering and courage. The Doolittle Raid did very little physical damage. But that wasn't the point. It was a psychological blow. America had bombed Tokyo. The Japanese leadership was humiliated and, for the first time, scared. The Hornet had pulled off the impossible. The raid made the Hornet a hero. But its greatest test was just around the corner, the greatest naval battle. After the Doolittle Raid, the Hornet was rushed south. The Japanese, furious about the raid, had set a massive trap to destroy America's remaining carriers. They planned to invade a tiny island called Midway Atoll. What they didn't know was that U.S. codebreakers had figured out their entire plan. In June 1942, the Hornet, along with the Enterprise and the badly damaged Yorktown, sailed to meet them. This was the Battle of Midway, the turning point of the entire Pacific War. At first, the battle was a disaster for the Hornet. Her first wave of aircraft, including the famous Torpedo Squadron 8, flew off to find the Japanese fleet. They found them, but their fighter escort got lost. The torpedo bombers went in anyway, low and slow, without any protection. It was a massacre. All 15 planes from Torpedo Squadron 8 were shot down. Only one man, Ensign George Gay, survived by hiding in the water under a seat cushion. But here's the thing, their sacrifice wasn't in vain. They had pulled the Japanese fighter planes, the Zeros, down to sea level to attack them. Just as the Zeros were finishing them off, American dive bombers from the Enterprise in Yorktown arrived high overhead. The Japanese carrier's decks were completely exposed. In the span of 5 minutes, the entire course of the war changed. The dive bombers hit 3 Japanese carriers, the Akagi, the Kaga, and the Soryu. They all erupted in flames. Later that day, they found and sank the last one, the Hiryu. The Hornet's planes, having rearmed, joined the attack, helping to sink the heavy cruiser Mikima. In one day, Japan lost its 4 best aircraft carriers, ships they could never replace. The Hornet had helped break the back of the Japanese Navy. The Hornet seemed invincible, but its luck was about to run out in the worst way possible. A tomb in the Pacific. The Hornet's end came just 4 months later in October 1942 at the Battle of the Santa Cruz Islands. By this point, America's carrier fleet was stretched dangerously thin. The Saratoga was damaged, the Wasp was sunk, and the Enterprise was damaged. For a time, Hornet was the only operational U.S. carrier in the South Pacific, holding the line for the brutal campaign on Guadalcanal. At Santa Cruz, the Hornet and the hastily repaired Enterprise faced a superior Japanese fleet. This time, the Japanese pilots were luckier. They found the Hornet. The attack was one of the most intense and brutal of the entire war. In a coordinated assault, Japanese dive bombers and torpedo planes swarmed the Hornet all at once. Within 15 minutes, the ship was ruined. She was hit by 3 bombs from Val dive bombers. One of them, a wow factor of pure destruction, was a 900-pound bomb that hit the flight deck, punched through 3 decks below, and exploded deep inside the ship, ending the lives of dozens of men. At the same time, 2 Kate torpedo bombers slammed their torpedoes into her engine rooms, knocking out all power. A damaged Japanese plane then deliberately crashed into the ship's side. The Hornet was dead in the water, on fire, and listing badly. The crew fought desperately to save her. The cruiser Northampton tried to tow the massive carrier away from the fight, but the tow line snapped. They tried again, but the Japanese returned. More bombers and torpedo planes attacked the helpless ship. The order was finally given: abandon ship. But here is the most unbelievable part. The Hornet refused to sink. After the crew was evacuated, the U.S. Navy tried to scuttle its own ship. They didn't want the Japanese to capture it. The destroyers Mustang and Anderson pumped 9 torpedoes into the Hornet. Most of them hit. She still floated. They then shelled her with their 5-inch guns, firing over 400 rounds into her. The Hornet, burning and full of holes, would not go down. Finally, as the Japanese fleet approached, the American destroyers had to flee. It was the Japanese destroyers Makigumo and Akagumo that finally finished the job, firing their own torpedoes into the stubborn ship. Just after 1 a.m. on October 27, 1942, the legendary USS Hornet finally slipped beneath the waves, taking 140 of her crew with her. For 80 years, that's where the story ended, a watery grave lost to time until now. Paul Allen's Ghost Hunter. So how do you find a 20,000-ton needle in a 3-mile deep haystack? The answer is data, a lot of data. The team on the RV Petrel didn't just sail out and start looking. They spent months in archives. Their first clue was finding the logbook of the USS Mustang, one of the destroyers that tried to sink the Hornet. But one ship's log isn't enough. You see, in the heat of battle, navigating by the stars, coordinates can be off by miles. They needed more. The team dug and dug, eventually finding the records from 9 different U.S. warships that were there that night. They took all 9 sets of coordinates, laid them over each other, and looked for a pattern. They created a search box of about 10.5 square miles where they believed the Hornet was most likely to be. This is where the high-tech comes in. The Petrel isn't just a boat, it's a mothership. It carries a Hydroid Remus 6000, an autonomous underwater vehicle. This AUV is basically a 20-foot-long self-driving torpedo packed with advanced sonar. They programmed it with the search grid and let it go. It dives down and mows the lawn, scanning the seafloor for anything that isn't mud. Here is the most incredible fact of the entire search. The AUV found the USS Hornet on its very first dive. It was the first anomaly it registered. The team had nailed the location. When the ROV sent back the first clear images, the team knew they had found it. The discovery was emotional, but for one man, it was personal. Richard Nowatzki was an 18-year-old gunner on the Hornet during its final battle. He was one of the last men off the ship. At 95 years old, he was one of the ship's last living survivors. The Petrel team showed him the footage from the drone. He watched the screen, silent, as the robot's lights glided over the anti-aircraft gun he had once manned. After a moment, he pointed and said, "If you go down to my locker, there's $40 in it. You can't have it." His story, his memories were the human element the drone could never capture, but the drone's discovery gave him and the families of the 140 men who were lost a final sense of closure. That's all for today. Do you think these historic wrecks should be left as graves, or should modern technology be used to recover them? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.